Hi, everyone. How are you doing? I'm so glad that you're here. Get comfortable. I want you to grab your coffee or tea or whatever. And I'm not going to do the soft intro thing today because what's happening astrologically on Wednesday is just too important. So I need to just talk to you about it, real talk. If you're someone who feels everything deeply, who's been holding on to something important but can't seem to actually move forward with it, who overthinks everything, this episode is for you. And I mean that. We're talking about Wednesday, December 10th, and there's so much happening in the sky that day that honestly, when I looked at it and then pulled cards for it, I had to pause and sit with it for a minute because it's so direct. The moon is shifting from Leo into Virgo. Neptune's going direct after being retrograde since July. And Mercury is opposing Uranus, which is basically breakthrough or breakdown energy all on the same day. And the cards I pulled, we're going to get into that because they're not messing around either. But first, let me break down what's actually happening cosmically without all the flowery language, just what you need to know. Okay, so the moon's been in Leo. And Leo's moon energy is all about being seen, being celebrated, creating from your heart, taking up space. It's that I matter and my creative expression matters energy. But for those of us who are sensitive, that can feel amazing and terrifying at the same time because there's vulnerability in being seen. Oh, I'm making a mess here. Hang on. Here we go. There's vulnerability in being seen. This fear of being too much or not enough. This whole what if people judge what I create thing, but Leo teaches us that we are worthy of being witnessed, that our creative truth deserves space, that we don't have to apologize for existing. Then on Wednesday at around 1:24 in the morning, the moon moves into Virgo, and Virgo is completely different energy. Virgo's not about being celebrated. It's about being useful. It's not, look at me, it's how I can help. It's not heart-centered performance, it's hands-on devotion. Virgo wants to refine things, wants to organize things, make things actually work in the real world. Virgo is the energy of service, of craft, of let me perfect this because the work itself matters. And here's the thing, Virgo gets a bad rap for being critical and perfectionist. And yeah, that's the shadow. But the light side of Virgo, it's devotion. It's tending to something with care because you love it, not because you're trying to prove anything. So what actually changes? Well, when the moon shifts from Leo to Virgo, we go from what do I want to express to how do I make this actually useful? From am I worthy of being seen to how can I serve with what I have? And for sensitive people, for overthinkers like us, this can go one of two ways. Either it's in the beautiful shift where we stop seeking external validation and start trusting in our own internal compass about what's good enough, or we go straight from I need everyone to love this into nothing I do will ever be good enough and I should probably just throw in the towel. Both are distortions. Both are the ego trying to protect us from vulnerability. The truth is somewhere in the middle. I have something real to offer, and I'm going to do my best to make it good, while also accepting that it doesn't have to be perfect to be valuable. So let's be honest about what can happen during the shift. Let's talk about the shadow side of Leo. That's that desperately needing applause, creating for validation instead of a place of truth, performing instead of expressing. That wounded part says, if you don't see me and celebrate me, then I must not matter. We might have been noticing that kind of sentiment for the last couple of days. We might have been seeking approval, where we might have been creating for likes or comments or recognition instead of because the work itself matters. Now let's talk about Virgo. Virgo shadow is that brutal self-criticism, the voice that says not good enough about everything. Perfectionism that paralyzes us instead of helping us improve. That analysis paralysis, overthinking until we can't move at all. And the shadow of moving from from Leo to Virgo specifically, is going from I'm amazing to actually I'm terrible and I need to fix everything about myself before I'm allowed to do any fucking thing. That's the trap. Don't fall into it. What else is happening on Wednesday? Well, we have some potent transits that are going on Wednesday, which we've been talking about quite a bit this week. Because the moon shift is not even the biggest thing that's happening. You know, there's two major transits that day, and they're kind of everything. Okay, Neptune has been retrograde since July 4th, and on Wednesday morning at 6:23 a.m. Central Time, it will station direct in Pisces. And let me tell you what that actually means. Since July, if you're I'm gonna get cozy with you here. Hold on, let me get you a little closer. Come closer. Since July, if you're someone with creative or spiritual gifts, you've been in this internal processing phase, like you're questioning your dreams. You're wondering if what you're envisioning is real or fantasy. You're getting really honest about where you've been deluding yourself or escaping reality instead of creating it. Now, Neptune retrograde has been asking, is this dream actually viable, or am I avoiding real life? And that's been necessary. We needed that reality check. We needed to clarify our vision and separate what's generally calling us from what's just petty escapism. But now Neptune goes direct, which means processing time is over. Your dreams are ready to become the actual things in the real world. That vision you've been clarifying, it's time to start building it. For creative people, spiritual people, healers, intuitives, this is your green light. Stop the processing and start doing. In that same afternoon, around 2:59 p.m. Central, Mercury in Scorpio opposes Uranus in Taurus. This is the breakthrough energy I was talking about. This is that lightning strike clarity. This is sudden insights that come out of nowhere but change everything. Mercury is how we think and communicate. And Uranus is the disruptor, the awakener, the thing that breaks through stagnant patterns. When they oppose each other, I want you to expect sudden realizations about things that you've been confused about for months, conversations that take completely unexpected turns, and information showing up out of nowhere that changes your understanding of a situation. Your nervous system feeling alive with ideas, but also scattered and anxious. You see, Uranus doesn't ask for permission. It just zaps through whatever's been stuck. And with Mercury involved, this is specifically a mental breakthrough. Thoughts you've been circling around suddenly become clear, and the answer you've been looking for just appears. But it can also make us feel pretty unpredictable, restless, nervous, wired. That feeling, that electric feeling where you can't quite settle down, but you also can't figure out what the hell you're supposed to be doing with all this energy, that's kind of where we'll be. And that's normal for Mercury Uranus. I mean, it's just expect the unexpected and write down any insights that come through because they're real, even if they seem random. So here's what we have on Wednesday. We have the moon moving into Leo. So that's, am I worthy? Into Virgo's, how do I serve? Neptune saying your dreams are ready to be actual reality now. Stop processing and start building. And that Mercury Uranus aspect saying, here comes the breakthrough insight, pay attention. This is time for action, my friends. Not perfect action, not fearless action, just devoted action. Leo taught us that we matter, that what we have to offer is valuable, that you're worthy of being seen. Now, Virgo is saying, okay, cool. Now let's do something with that. Let's organize it. Let's refine it. Let's make it useful in the world. Neptune direct is saying, you've been clarifying this vision since July. You've done the internal work. Now let's bring it into form. That Mercury Uranus aspect is saying the insight you need is coming. The mental breakthrough that's been building is about to land. So be ready. This is not someday energy. This is now energy. And that brings me to the cards, because what came through in the reading is almost uncomfortably accurate. 8 cards from 2 different decks. So I pulled from the Moonology messages because I wanted to understand what the Virgo moon transit is telling us. And then I pulled from the Shaman's Dream because I wanted to understand Neptune going direct. So I'm going to tell you what we've got and show you the cards that this is the first time that we're seeing it together. They're face down here on my table. And I'm going to get into the first set of cards. I'm going to flip them over. Oh my God. Let me tell you what I've got here. So I'm going to lower the camera down so you can kind of see what we've got on the table here. I don't know if you can see that. Probably better if I show you piece by piece. We got the past. We got process your feelings. We've got truth. And we've got new beginnings. This is an excellent spread. And I'll tell you why, what it's telling me here. It's telling me that there are some unresolved feelings from the past that need to be worked through. And that could be why we are doubting ourselves with this new start or this new step that we have to take. This week, especially Wednesday, is going to illuminate a truth. We're going to get this big aha moment, this clarity that is going to usher us into a new beginning, but not before we've worked through the thing that keeps us stuck. Okay? Now, the second set of cards, I'm going to reveal those to you now. Adaptability. The disowned self. Deep diver, diving into a task. And then, new beginnings, again, Moon Maiden. So that's our double confirmation that this new start is happening now, not a someday, but now. It tells us that in order for us to take advantage of this new beginning, we have to remain adaptable. Uranus is going to change everything, and we have to be able to move with the flow. I practice a old type of magic called bibliomancy. And that's where you look into a book that you choose and you find the passage that speaks to you, right? Through meditating, I do it with my eyes closed. And I've selected a passage that I want to share with you after we finish this reading with this last set of cards here and moving to the tarot, before we move into the tarot. So let me continue with what these cards are saying, and then we'll get into the passage, and then we'll go into the tarot and have some closing words. The second, we mentioned the root girl, the disowned self. That's the second card that we got. Third card is diving into a task, and then we got Moon Maiden, right? New beginnings. So this is telling me that there's an aspect of ourselves that we've kind of distanced ourselves from. We've kind of shoved it into our subconscious. It's back there. We don't want to look at it. Spirit is saying, bring it front and center. It is time now to look at what's been haunting us from the past and process those emotions. And it could be something that's stopping you from taking advantage of this new beginning, something that's pushing the brakes down. And this is not the time for breaks. This is the go time, right? And not go in the large sense of the word, but in the first tangible small step you can take. Now, with the moon moving into Virgo, it is time for us to roll up our sleeves and get into the task. Hold on, my phone is ringing. 1 second. Sorry about that. It's time for us to get into the task, right? So it's getting into the nitty-gritty details, really working through what it takes to get this idea off the ground and into our tangible reality. And then we got our last card here, New Beginnings, which heralds the idea that something new is starting and blossoming now. And we've done all the work to receive this. But now we need to put ourselves in the receptive mode so that we can actually take advantage of what is coming through. Okay. So the oracle sets the tone for our reading here. Now I'd like to go into the tarot cards that I pulled, and they're also face down, and I'd like to share what's coming up with them. So let's put these cards aside because inevitably these are going to connect. Okay, so here are my cards face down, and I'm going to turn them one by one. Ace of Cups, Three of Cups in reverse, Nine of Wands upright. You can see that. And in the subconscious, Eight of Swords. So I'll put that aside here. And let's talk about the cards that we have got. All right, so the Ace of Cups first. The Ace of Cups tells me that you have something genuine to give. But here's what's important about this card. It's not about you creating this through force or willpower. The hand holding the cup isn't your hand. It's the divine hand. You're not manufacturing this offering. You're receiving it. And then you're pouring it out. It's the difference between ego-driven creation and soul-driven purpose. For sensitive people, this is our gift. We feel deeply enough that we become channels for something larger than ourselves. And we can hold emotional truth and spiritual energy and let it move through us into form. The Ace of Cups says your sensitivity is not a weakness. It's actually what qualifies you to carry this sacred water. The water that's overflowing in this picture here, that's what happens when you stop trying to control or contain the offering. It naturally pours out. It spills over. It nourishes everything around it. You don't have to force it. You just have to stop blocking it. And with Neptune going direct, the universe is literally saying, what have you been receiving? What you've been receiving in your inner world is ready to come out in your physical world. The vision is clear enough. The offering is ready. It's time to pour it out. The next card we got is the Three of Cups in reverse, right? This tells me you've stopped seeking validation, and that's primo. That's good. You know, the Three of Cups upright in the traditional Rider-Waite deck is three people dancing together, raising their cups in celebration. It's community, it's collaboration, it's shared joy, it's creative celebration with others. But in reversed, someone stepped away from the party. And here's what I need you to understand. That's not a bad thing. The card in reverse is saying you're withdrawn from seeking external validation. You've stopped performing for applause. You realize that needing everyone's approval before you fully commit to your work is actually diluting the work. This is the Leo to Virgo shift showing up in the cards here. Leo wants the celebration, the recognition that, oh, everybody, look at me, look what I made, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. We all need to be witnessed, but we've moved beyond that needing as our primary fuel. The Three of Cups reverse shows us that we've stepped away from superficial celebration or from communities that don't actually understand what we're doing. Now, this card can also mean that you've been feeling isolated and lonely. Like, where's my support? Where are my people? Why am I doing this alone? And that feeling is real. I'm not dismissing that. But there's something else happening here. Sometimes we kind of pull back from community, not because we're afraid of connection, but because we're protecting something sacred. We're protecting the purity of that Ace of Cups. We're not going to dilute our offering by trying to make it, attractive to people who don't get it. The Three of Cups reverse is Virgo's discernment saying, I know who my real people are. I know what genuine support looks like, and I'm not wasting my precious energy trying to convince people who aren't meant to understand. For sensitive people, this is the moment when we realize that not everybody can hold the depth of what we're carrying. Not everybody is going to understand the work that we're doing, and that's fine. We're not meant to be understood by everyone. We're meant to serve the people who actually need what we specifically have to offer. The Three of Cups reversed with Neptune going direct tells me a particular thing. It tells me that we've been in a period of spiritual discernment, right? We're thinking about who our actual community really is. And we probably have felt the loneliness of walking a path that most people don't understand. But this is not isolation, it's initiation. We're learning to trust our own authority instead of seeking validation from people who can't see what you see. This card is also warning us about Virgo's shadow. Don't let healthy discernment turn into being a martyr. Okay, don't tell yourself, I've got to do this alone and nobody else can help me and I can't trust anybody. Then you're speaking from the wound here, not from a place of wisdom. True discernment means that we're clear about who can support us, even if it's a smaller circle than we initially imagined. Let's look at our next card. We got 9 of Wands upright. That's the card there. You see that? Ooh, this is the card of being tired. Yeah, you're exhausted, but you haven't quit. God, this card makes me want to give you the biggest hug and make you tea and tell you to just rest. In the traditional Rider-Waite deck, the image on the card is someone standing next to 8 wands behind them, like a defensive wall, holding one more wand upright like a staff. They look wounded, they look tired, and there's a bandage around their head, but they're still standing and they haven't given up. This is you now. You've come so far with this vision, this mission, this offering that you have to give. You've held so much doubt, your own doubt, other people's skepticism, delays, obstacles, internal resistance. You've defended your boundaries around whatever this thing is. You've protected your energy. You've said no to other things that would have diluted it. And you're tired. The 9 of Wands doesn't sugarcoat that. It doesn't. The card says, I'm exhausted. I've been holding this vision for so long. I'm weary of having to keep believing in it when I can't see the results yet. And I'm tired of defending something that hasn't manifested yet. That perseverance is real. And so is the exhaustion. So I want to validate that with you here. This card speaks directly to that Mercury Uranus opposition energy. Your nervous system has been on such high alert. You've been ready for the breakthrough, ready for that moment of action. And that state of conscious readiness is draining us right now. It's like waiting for a phone call you know is coming, but you don't know when. So you can't fully relax. You're just a little bit on edge. You're kind of braced for the thing to happen. That 9 of Wands is Virgo energy. At its most devoted and its most depleted. Virgo serves, Virgo tends, Virgo keeps showing up even when it's hard. But Virgo also burns out when service becomes self-sacrifice without any replenishment. Let me go deeper with this card, okay? Because it's important. The 9 of Wands shows up when we're almost there. It's the moment right before the breakthrough, but we can't see that we're almost there because we're so focused on how exhausting it's been to get this far. This is the dark night before the dawn kind of energy. We're standing guard over something precious. That's that Ace of Cups that we initially got, the first card here. You've been protecting the vision, and the wands that are behind us, those are all the previous challenges that we've already overcome. And that's proof that you can do hard things. This isn't your first time pushing through difficulty. No. But here's what the 9 of Wands wants us to understand. That we're still in defensive mode when it's actually time to go on the offense. We're still bracing for the next obstacle. Now, you see how this connects to our oracle? In our oracle, we pulled the past. And then we pulled process your feelings. So there's something in the past here that has this on the defensive. We're still waiting for the other shoe to drop. We're waiting for the next obstacle. when it's actually time to put one foot in front of the other and go. We're still protecting and preparing when Neptune direct is saying, pour it out. The exhaustion is real. The tiredness is valid, but you're battle weary from fighting a war that's mostly happening in your own mind. Which brings us to what's been hiding underneath all of this. That Eight of Swords in the subconscious tells me that the only prison is a mental one. All right, let's take a deep breath, because this is the one that's going to either really piss you off or really set you free, maybe even both. The Eight of Swords in the traditional Rider-Waite deck shows a figure that's bound and blindfolded, surrounded by 8 swords stuck in the ground around them. They look trapped, can't move, helpless. But here's what you can see in the image that they can't see. The bindings are loose. The sword is not even touching them. There's a clear pathway out. The blindfold is real. It's a real prison because it's making them believe that they're more trapped than they actually are. This card in the subconscious position means the pattern has been running underneath everything. You haven't fully seen it yet. But Wednesday's Mercury Uranus opposition is about to make it visible. You've been imprisoning yourself with your own thoughts. You've been treating your fears as facts. We've been treating our doubts as divine messages telling us to wait. We've been treating our anxiety about whether we're ready as evidence that we're not ready. And I'm going to be really specific here because I know exactly how we overthinkers operate. We've been probably telling ourselves things like, I've got to figure it out before I move forward. I need every detail to be perfect before I can take action. There goes that Virgo shadow. I need to be absolutely certain this will work. I need to have all the answers before I start. I need to eliminate every possible risk. I need backup plans for my backup plans. I need to know that I won't fail before I fully commit. I'm getting goosebumps. Now, those thoughts feel protective. They feel like wisdom. They feel like, oh, I'm just being responsible. I'm just being thorough. But they're swords. They're not protecting you. They're surrounding you. And they're keeping us stuck. The Eight of Swords is Mercury Uranus opposition made visible. Mercury is the thoughts, the mental loops, the analysis, and Uranus is the breakthrough that says these thoughts are not reality. This card shows overthinking, analysis paralysis, mental restriction. We feel trapped by our circumstances that are actually just thoughts that we're treating as concrete barriers. The Eight of Swords says you have everything you need to free yourself, but you're believing the story that you're helpless. This is a good segue into the bibliomancy that I would love to practice here for you. I chose a book, and the book is We Are the Ones We Have Been Waiting For. It is Inner Light in a Time of Darkness by Alice Walker. I don't know if you're familiar with the book, but this is a book that shaped my childhood. It shaped my young adulthood, I should say. And I would love to meditate and think about what message does Spirit have for us. So I'm going to just deeply flip into this book and find whatever passage Spirit wants us to take in today. Can you hear my tummy grumbling? Oh my God, I haven't had breakfast. Okay. I'll read this passage. I don't know how it's going to connect, but I have faith that it will, okay? They will feel they are being torn apart and they will suffer greatly. No, the river has its destination. The elders say we must let go of the shore and push off into the river. Keep our eyes open and our head above the water. See who is in there with you and celebrate. At this time in history, we are to take nothing personally, least of all ourselves. For the moment that we do, our spiritual growth and journey comes to a halt. The time of the lone wolf is over. Oh my God. Gather yourselves. Banish the word struggle from your attitude and your vocabulary. All that you do now must be done in a sacred manner and in celebration. We are the ones we have been waiting for. Oh my God. Do you see that connection? It started off acknowledging the struggle that we've been through. So did this card. Then it said that we are to become like water. You know what that reminds me of? The card that we got in the second deck that says adaptability. Adaptability. Water is flexible. It's not rigid. It flows where it needs to flow. And it says that we need to trust the flow of the water because the river has its destination. It knows where it's going. The elders say we must let go of the shore. So we have to stop clinging to what we believe to be true or what we've always known to be true. And we have to trust and push off into that river. It's funny that it says here that the time of the lone wolf is over. So we're not meant to do this alone. And it says that we should banish the word struggle from our attitude. Therefore, put the past behind us. Process those feelings so we can step boldly into this new beginning. I'm going to keep this open because I have a feeling that we're going to come back to it. So, the Eight of Swords we were talking about says that we have everything that we need to free ourselves, but we're believing that we're helpless. For sensitive people and overthinkers, this is our most familiar card. We can think ourselves into absolute paralysis. We can analyze every angle until we're frozen. We can anticipate every possible problem until we're convinced that moving forward is impossible. And that's Virgo's shadow showing up again. Virgo's gift to us is discernment and careful analysis. But Virgo's shadow is that endless mental criticism that disguises itself as preparation. I'm just trying to be thorough. I'm just trying to get it right. I'm just making sure I don't mess this up. But beneath all of that, there's fear. There's fear of failure, fear of being inadequate, fear of being exposed as not enough. The Eight of Swords in the subconscious with the Nine of Wands in the conscious position tells me that you think that you're defending yourself against external threats somehow. But the real battle is the one that you're facing inside your own mind. You're exhausted from fighting your own doubt, not from actual obstacles in the external world. With the Three of Cups reversed, this creates a really painful loop. You've isolated yourself or feel isolated because you're trapped in the mental stories, that Eight of Swords, right? That tell you that you're alone, that nobody can help you, that you have to figure it out on your own. But you're surrounded by swords you could pick up and use as tools, which means there are resources at your disposal. There's support. You have options. We're just not seeing them because the blindfold of our limiting beliefs won't let us. The most devastating thing about the Eight of Swords is that the prison is self-imposed. The person in the card could take the blindfold off at any time. They could slip out of those loose bindings. They could just walk away. But they believe that they can't. So they don't. And Wednesday's Mercury Uranus opposition, that's that bolt cutter. That's that lightning strike that burns through the blindfold. That's the sudden realization that, oh my God, I've been free the entire time. These limitations were in my head. All right, so let me bring this all together for you. Because this reading is so coherent that it's almost scary, okay? The Ace of Cups tells me you have something real and sacred to offer. Neptune Direct says it's ready to pour it into the world, to make it tangible, physical. The Three of Cups reverse says you've learned that external validation isn't the point, that you've stepped away from performing for approval, and that's that Leo to Virgo shift. The Nine of Wands says you're exhausted from holding this vision, from defending it, from staying ready for so long. You're tired, but you haven't quit because you're so close. The Eight of Swords says the only thing stopping you is your own mind. The thoughts that say that you're not ready, not good enough, that you need more time, those are the blindfold, and they're not true. The moon shifting from Leo to Virgo is asking us to move away from performing our worthiness to embodying our service. Leo says, I matter. Virgo says, let me show you how I matter through action. You need Leo to remind you that you're worthy, that your offering is valuable. Now you need Virgo to help you actually do something with it. The shadow is going from, I need everybody to celebrate me, to nothing I do will ever be good enough. Both are distortions of the ego, trying to protect us from the vulnerability of actually putting our work into the world. The truth is, you have something sacred to offer. You're going to tend to it with devotion. And it doesn't have to be perfect to be valuable. Now, Neptune going direct with this Ace of Cups is the universe confirming that your dreams are ready to be real. So stop processing, stop preparing, and start pouring. The Eight of Swords have been telling you that you're not ready, that you need more time, you need more clarity, but you've been processing this since July. The vision is clear enough. You're using that I need more clarity as a way to avoid the vulnerability of actually doing the thing. Neptune Direct says you have enough clarity. Move. Now, the Mercury Uranus opposition is the breakthrough that shatters the Eight of Swords. It's that sudden insight that cuts through the mental fog. It's that unexpected realization that shows you exactly what's been blinding you. The Nine of Wands shows you you're exhausted from your body being on high alert. And that Mercury Uranus opposition is saying that your nervous system is actually activated because the breakthrough is coming. It's imminent. You're not anxious because something's wrong. You're anxious because something's about to shift and you feel it in your body, and your body knows it before your mind does. The Three of Cups reverse says you felt alone, but the Mercury Uranus opposition might bring some unexpected support, some allies, or clarity about who your real tribe is. Who are your real people? What does this mean for your life? Look, I don't know what specific thing you're holding or what mission you've been protecting or what offering you've been preparing, right? But if you resonated with anything that I just said, here's what Wednesday's energy is telling you. You have the offering. The Ace of Cups is real. The work matters. The mission is sacred. Neptune directs us stop questioning whether it's valid and start building it. You don't need everyone's approval. Three of Cups says you're beyond that. You need the right people, the people who actually need what you have, and the ones who understand it, and the ones who can hold it. So let go of needing validation from people who just don't get it. You're tired, but you're almost there. Nine of Wands says that the perseverance is about to pay off. So don't quit right before the finish line, right before the breakthrough, but also rest, okay? Tend to yourself. Devotion also needs to be sustainable. And the only real cage that you're in is mental. The Eight of Swords says every thought that tells you I'm not ready, it's not good enough, I need more time, what if I fail? Those are all the blindfold. Wednesday's Mercury Uranus breakthrough is going to show you this clearly. So be ready to receive that insight and actually act on it. To close, Wednesday is about moving from contemplation into action, from processing processing. Remember the card that we got? Process your feelings. It's about this processing into the doing, from defending into offering. The Leo moon already taught us that we matter. The Virgo moon is teaching us how to matter through service, through the act of doing. Neptune direct is saying processing time is over. Building time is here. That Mercury Uranus opposition is saying that the mental breakthrough that you need is coming, and it's probably going to come when we least expect it. So we need to pay attention. The cards are telling us that we have everything that we need. The only thing in our way is the belief that we don't. So here's my question for you. What would you do if you knew the Eight of Swords was just an illusion, just a story? If you knew the bindings were loose and you could walk away from that mental prison at any point? What would you pour out if you trusted that that Eight of Cups was real, the Ace of Cups is real? What if you stopped needing that Three of Cups celebration and just committed fully into the work? How would you move forward if you honored the exhaustion of the Nine of Wands, but didn't let it stop us? Wednesday's energy is permission. It's cosmic support. It's the universe saying, we've got this. Now go. It's not perfect, not fearless, but it's devoted. Just action that comes from the love of work, from the commitment to service, from trust that your sensitivity qualifies you for this mission. You're ready. You've been ready. The only thing left is to believe it. All right. That's what I've got for you. If this landed, please let me know. If it pissed you off, it's probably the Eight of Swords getting defensive. Sit with it anyway. And if you're going through something where this applies, Wednesday is your day. The breakthrough is coming. Thanks for being here. I see you. Take care of yourselves.